My best friend did something horrible at a mutual family friend's wedding, and blamed it on my younger sister. I am considering cutting ties with her, but I'm having a hard time. The story involves myself, my best friend Caroline, my younger sister Nicola, and our mutual friend / groomsman Daniel. So over the weekend a very good family friend of both my family and Caroline's family was getting married. Caroline and I have been best friends for years. We met when we were toddlers, our moms are best friends, our sisters are friends, etc. etc. You get the picture. We knew that both of our families would be invited to this wedding and we were looking forward to it for months. It's important to note that Caroline's family and my family have a ton of mutual friends, and this was going to be a very large wedding. Guest count was in the 500s. Everything was going fine and dandy until Caroline got completely wasted. She kept talking to me about how hot one of the groomsmen, Daniel, was, and how she'd had a crush on him for years but he showed no interest. This was probably because he was in a serious relationship and had been dating his current girlfriend for 6 years. The girlfriend decided not to attend this wedding because she didn't know the bride and groom very well, and because Daniel would be a groomsman she wouldn't see him very much either. Fast forward a couple of hours and Caroline is hanging all over Daniel. She's constantly asking him to dance with her, get her drinks from the open bar, etc. She's point blank throwing herself at him and it was embarrassing and painful to watch. I tried intervening a couple of times to get her off of him, but she snapped at me and at that point I decided that it wasn't my problem. Furthermore, Daniel wasn't completely pushing her away. He looked like he had a few drinks in him as well and seemed somewhat interested in Caroline. I decided that if he didn't care I certainly wasn't going to. If he wanted to throw his relationship away it was none of my concern. I tried. I didn't witness this next part, but by the end of the night Caroline and Daniel were having the deed in a different room of the hall. Yes, it escalated quickly. To their misfortune, someone, I'm not sure who, just that it was someone's mom who knew Daniel and his girlfriend, but didn't know Caroline, walked in on them, and for some reason Caroline told this woman that she was Nicola, my sister. I don't know if she was embarrassed or drunk or what, but she purposely identified herself as Nicola so Caroline herself would not be in trouble. Word quickly spread that Daniel and Nicola were caught doing the deed, and Nicola was mortified. People were talking about how disrespectful, home-wrecking, rude, slutty Nicola was. I honestly can't even blame them. Had I not known better, I would be thinking the same things. On top of that, Caroline had gone around actually telling other people that it was Nicola and confirming the rumor she started. The bride and groom were pissed. Everyone was talking badly about my sister and Caroline seemed to not care. In fact, when I confronted her about the situation at the wedding she straight up denied it. Had Daniel not confirmed that it was Caroline he was hooking up with and not Nicola I might have even believed her. The next day Caroline texted Nicola a half-hearted apology about the whole thing, saying she was so drunk and didn't know what she was doing. The text included a lot of lol s and haha s, so I'm not sure how seriously Caroline is taking the situation. She doesn't seem to realize how mortified Nicola is. Nicola genuinely thinks that her life is ruined. We live in a very tight-knit community, and a lot of people have heard the false version of what went down. I'm at odds with what to do. Up until this point, Caroline had been a very good friend to both I and Nicola. I'm just not sure if I can forgive her for this, especially considering her lack of consciousness about how bad the situation really is. Should I dump her? Or should I give her another chance? Our friendship will be different regardless. My family sees Caroline in a completely different light now, so even if I forgave her we wouldn't be able to do a lot of the same things we used to. Hang out at my house, do things with my family, etc. What should I do, Reddit? Edit, at this point, a lot of people know that it was Caroline with Daniel, and not Nicola. However, I'm not sure how many is a lot. Our family friends know, but there were a lot of guests at the wedding who knew Caroline's family better than they did mine. I'm sure these people still think it was Nicola. Edit 2. Another issue is that Nicola is also terrified of the potential ramifications from Daniel's current girlfriend. I have absolutely no updates on the situation with the girlfriend. I don't know her well and I don't know what Daniel has chosen to share with her, if anything at all. Edit 3. Because a lot of people are asking me how I could even consider remaining friends with Caroline. Prior to this experience, she was honestly a great best friend. Of course we've had our ups and downs like all friends do, but she has always been a kind and caring person and I really valued our friendship. I've known her my whole life and the evening at the wedding was very uncharacteristic of her, including her coming onto a man who was in a relationship. Throwing away a friendship with someone who you have been close with for 15 plus years is extremely difficult. However, am I prepared to do this if it's the right thing to do? Update. First off, I wanted to give a huge thank you to everyone who responded. I definitely did not expect such a large amount of help and guidance from everyone. This community is awesome and I really appreciate everyone's time and advice. I unfortunately could not respond to very many people's posts as I left the thread overnight and once I woke up it was locked, so I figured the least I could do is provide an update. So about a week and a half ago Caroline casually called me and asked to sleep over. She wanted to attend an event downtown and my place was much closer to the event than hers. At this point, it became very clear that Caroline had no idea anybody was upset with her. Despite the fact that Nicola and I hadn't spoken with her since the wedding, I told Caroline that I didn't think her sleeping over was a good idea, and when she had asked why, I brought up what happened at the wedding. She laughed and said Nicola needed to grow up and get over it, and it really seemed like she expected me to agree and laugh along with her. Well Reddit, I took your advice and let her have it. I told her how selfish and inconsiderate she was, and if it truly was no big deal, then she should have no problem taking full responsibility for her actions and publicly acknowledging that she was the one who hooked up with Daniel, and not Nicola. I told her she needed to make things right because Nicola was still mortified over something she didn't do. At the end of the phone call I gave her an ultimatum, post an apology to Facebook, and spill the beans about what actually happened, or our friendship was over. Thanks to the Redditor who suggested this, to my complete and utter surprise, she did it. I thought it would make me feel better, but people were actually commenting on her FB status commending her bravery, and the fact that she did the right thing. I was super annoyed because of course she would never have done this had I not forced her to, but at the end of the day, Nicola is happy and her name is in the clear. Oh, and an update on Daniel and his girlfriend. According to his Instagram, they are happily together. Whether or not she knows about Caroline, I don't know and I don't care, not my train wreck. TLDR, gave Caroline an ultimatum to post the truth on Facebook or stop being friends. She posted it on Facebook. Daniel and his girlfriend are still happily together. I'm still rolling my eyes. Story 2, I just don't know what to do with my manipulative mother. I am a cardiologist in training, pursuing a PhD, managing various international projects plus having another part-time job at an outpatient clinic. I have been living alone for 3 years. I always had a good relationship with my mother. I thought it was better than most of my peers. I've always had the feeling that she wasn't satisfied with how I did certain things, but I never explored it more deeply, e.g., that I don't work hard enough. Everything changed about a year ago when I introduced them to my new girlfriend. Honestly, I thought they would be thrilled with her, well-mannered, college-educated, intelligent. I never realized that her tattoos would be such a problem. On the day of the introduction, my mother called me, and the next day she even came to my house in person ASAP. I had to listen to how much I had hurt her, that I was a bad son and that I had disappointed her. She managed, in less than 2 hours, to analyze my girlfriend and concluded that she was a bad person who liked to harm herself and was mentally disturbed. Because she had tattoos, she gave me an ultimatum, either her or my girlfriend. She then told the whole family, so I also received similar phone calls from my grandparents. After numerous emotional meetings and text messages, she took back the ultimatum as if it never happened. In her eyes, I have to make a compromise. I shouldn't mention my girlfriend. I should act as if she doesn't exist, and continue visiting them happily as before. Of course, it didn't work. I didn't like visiting them. It was emotionally draining. Every time I mentioned her first name, we argued. When she saw my location at the place where my girlfriend works, I received blackmailing text messages. When I posted a photo with her on social media, my mom had to unfollow me. I tried to limit the frequency of visits to my parents, but every time I don't come, I get a message about how cold I am and that I don't make my parents happy. Going LC doesn't help either. She always finds a way to contact me somehow. Of course, I always defended my girlfriend in front of them, and when they made inappropriate comments, I ended the conversation and left. She doesn't know about many of these things. She doesn't deserve to suffer unnecessarily. It's unfair for her to be insulted by people who don't even know her, especially when she doesn't deserve it. None of my mother's predictions about her have come true. I've tried to find compromises and gradually get my parents to at least a certain level of acceptance. However, I'm exhausted by this and see no way out. I'm tired of hearing how I failed as a person, how they sacrificed their whole lives for me and that I'm ungrateful, that I don't care about them, that my girlfriend is more important to me than they are, that I'm selfish for not caring about my parents' happiness. No argument seems to work. It's as if my feelings don't matter. Everything I bring up from the past is misunderstood or supposedly happened differently than I remember. They say the whole situation is my fault because I knew my mom didn't like tattoos. But I've long realized that this isn't really about my girlfriend, but about me. My parents don't understand that I wasn't choosing between them and my girlfriend, but that I chose myself and the ability to make my own decisions. However, they still think that if I broke up with her, everything would be perfect again and we would all get along. I don't feel that way. Though, I feel like they have completely humiliated me. I feel that they are not good people. I've even started to doubt myself. I've even tried many times to view the situation from my parents' perspective, wondering if perhaps I made a mistake and caused the entire situation myself. Objectively, I know that I have already achieved more than my parents did in their entire lives in terms of work. I have a perfect relationship with my girlfriend. I don't even think I'm morally at rock bottom. I've acted correctly towards my girlfriend as she is the most important person in my life. I believe there are many things my parents could be proud of. Despite this, I feel trapped. Just the thought of living in the same city as her evokes a sense of lack of freedom in me. Still feel something like a mother gaze or a sense of her constant scrutiny. I'm not looking for any advice. I just wanted to vent anonymously to some strangers on the internet and see if anyone has had a similar experience. I'm trying to find hope for improvement. Haha, I know exactly what I need to do and am looking for the inner strength to do it, to go to therapy and to cut all ties with them. However, I find this extremely difficult due to the past. My father is a former alcoholic, and I was my mother's support during tough times. I also feel sorry to lose contact with the rest of the family, especially my sister, but also my father. They don't share my mother's views, but they don't openly oppose her for the sake of household peace. It's challenging also because just over a year ago, everything seemed to be fine. At least I didn't realize that it wasn't.